So organizational resilience, the big one, the big picture, the whole organization. Well, you can't do an organizational resilience conversation without mentioning the three-legged stool. When we talk about organizational resilience, this image resonates well across the English-speaking world. The stool is inherently stable, but only if all three legs are strong. Remove one, weaken one, or assume one can compensate for the others, and the whole thing collapses. That is true. We can take this analogy and paint it in many different pictures, but it is very true when it comes to looking at organizational resilience. It really speaks to all the things that have to work together seamlessly to make sure the organization is resilient. It doesn't belong to a single team, a single framework, or a single discipline. It rests on three essential legs. If you go back to that slide, please. Thanks. The first leg is business continuity. This is where we define what truly matters, how we prioritize, and how the organization continues to operate and recover when disruption occurs. The second leg are your IT systems, infrastructure, data, and availability. Without reliable technology, continuity plans stay theoretical and response becomes slow or fragmented. I can attest to that point. And the third leg is, in the examples that we're painting here, the third leg is information security. That's about protection, detection, and containment, ensuring that threats don't compromise the organization's ability to operate in the first place. In your organizations, you might massage what each one of those legs are a little bit, but it's fundamentally business continuity, your core IT, your enterprise, and your security. Those must work well together to drive and realize organizational resilience. It doesn't emerge from excellence in just one of these areas. Its strong cybersecurity cannot compensate for the absence of recovery planning. Robust IT can't replace clear continuity decision-making, and continuity plans alone cannot succeed without secure and available systems. So you need all three to be mainly to operate. And so this is where our conversation gets going even more. So moving on, standards as living frameworks for organizational resilience. We do need the standards and guidelines that help us stay on point and be consistent across various organizations. It also helps lead more credence to what we're doing when we're dealing within your organization. But one thing is true with most standards is they're frequently misunderstood. They're often seen as constraints or compliance exercises, when in fact the best standards are living frameworks. They provide structure and a shared language that while still allowing organizations to adapt. So you've got a framework to operate within. You know it's the right framework. It gives you that structure that you need to adapt to what is appropriate for your organization. The ISO standards, such as 22301, offer a strong and internationally recognized foundation for business continuity. But resilience is not built through certification alone. This is where the BCI Good Practice Guidelines play a critical role. They translate real practitioner experience into practical operational guidance. The message is simple. Standards don't create resilience by themselves. People, practices, experience, and informed decision-making do. And strong frameworks like the BCI GPG help bring all of that together in a coherent and actionable way. I could go on about that, but that's not what we're here about today. So moving on, organizational resilience is a set of capabilities, and I know that this will resonate with many on this call. It's not just that you've thought about it, it's what is your actual capability. So we talked about the structures and frameworks. Now let's step back and look at what resilience actually looks like at the capability level. Research by Stephanie Duchek shows that organizational resilience is not a single trait, but a set of interconnected capabilities that unfold over time. We see them before, during, and after disruption: anticipation, preparation, coping, adaptation, and learning. Before disruption, resilience begins with anticipation. detecting weak signals and understanding emerging risks, followed by preparation, which turns that understanding into plans, resources, and training. During disruption, resilience becomes operational, maintaining critical functions, coordinating decisions, and acting under pressure. After disruption, resilience shifts to adaptation, adjusting practices based on what actually happened, not just what was planned. Learning runs across all phases. It is what turns experience into lasting improvement. The key idea is simple. These capabilities don't operate in isolation. They reinforce one another and unfold across multiple layers of the organization. This is exactly what business continuity frameworks and the BCI Good Practice Guidelines reflect in practice. Resilience is not a static state, but a dynamic capability that must be continuously developed and exercised over time. I can't underscore that more, and I know most of you can relate to that. It's not just about what you plan for, it's what are you able to do? What is your capability? And when you're dealing with senior leaders, and we'll be talking about this in the leadership section, it's all about the capability. What have you done for me lately? What are we able to do? I need proof. But as you look through this, if you really think back through everything that you've seen in your experience and what you've read, this is a valid model. Anticipate, prepare, cope, absorb, adaptation, and learning. They may happen in different phases, at different orders at times, but they all are interrelated. And the result is, what is that capability? So moving on. Now, the other shift that is happening within our industry is we're moving from cost avoidance to value creation. Just having an insurance policy of a business continuity plan is not enough anymore. Companies don't have the time to just work on plans. There has to be value in this space. So this is the last point on the organizational resilience layer. What is the real business value of business continuity and resilience? And I know that's a question we all work on trying to answer on pretty much every day in our jobs. For a long time, resilience was viewed mainly as cost, necessary to reduce risk, ensure compliance, or manage crises. What the data shows is that the view is changing. And this is an excerpt from the recent Resilience Vision 2030 report from the BCI. Cost avoidance remains an immediate benefit. Fewer disruptions, faster recovery, and better coordination deliver clear financial impact. That's a given. But the real shift goes further. More and more organizations point to improved decision-making as a core value of resilience, driven by better understanding of procedures and interdependencies. This is where resilience becomes strategic. Get to know your organization and how it functions. Resilience is also increasingly recognized as a way to protect and even strengthen reputation, trust, and credibility. And most tellingly, over 70% of organizations now see resilience as a competitive advantage. In other words, resilience is no longer just about survival. It is a capability that enables stronger performance in a world where disruption is expected. The message is clear. Organizational resilience is not a support function. It is a foundational capability at the heart of strategy and value creation. And I'm seeing this in the boardroom as well as senior leadership teams on throughout organizations. The more I get out beyond my former employer, this is so true. It's not organization resilience, it's not support. It is foundational to the business.